Hi everyone. Topic of this video involves decimal rounding, so we'll attempt to go through it and explain it one last time, because I don't think you'll see it again on this stuff. All right, so decimal rounding is very similar to normal rounding. In fact, it's identical and follows the exact same rules. If we're not talking money, which I will talk about near the end of this video, if we're not talking money, it follows the rules. If we're trying to round, say the number 74 hundredths, we're trying to use the 4 to help us round 7. The hundredths help us round the tenths. We take a look at the neighbor. So we're rounding the tenths. We take a look at the neighbor. It still follows the rules. 0 to 4 stays the same. Stays the same. The 5 to 9, it bumps up. All right, we round up. We're asking ourselves, is 74 hundredths closer to 8, in this case, 8 tenths, or 80 hundredths, or is it closer to 70 hundredths? And the answer in this case is the 4 helps us realize that it's closer to 70 hundredths. So this would round down to 70 hundredths. So it's exactly the same thing. The only major difference is a lot of the times we don't have to put the 0 on the outside here. Why? Because when we're dealing with decimals, we don't have to, anything that's on this side that's a 0, there's nothing else, it doesn't mean anything. So the answer could be this, or the answer 70 hundredths could be just 7 tenths, because the 0 really doesn't mean much in this case here, unless we're talking about money. Just another example, it really does just follow the same rules. If we're going to round, say, in the hundredths, we would look to the thousandths. So we look at the 3, trying to round the 2, we're asking ourselves, is it closer to 130 thousandths, or is it closer to 120 thousandths? The 3 tells us we round down, it's closer to 120 thousandths. Even if we have, say, 5 and 649 thousandths, and we're rounding in the hundredths place value, even if we have a whole number, the same rules apply. Everything kind of on the left-hand side automatically stays the same. It's the stuff on the right-hand side that changes to a 0. So I use the 9 to help me round the 4. In this case, it's going to bump up to 5 and 65 hundredths, or 650 thousandths. Right, depending on how you write it. If you need to, you can write the low and the high, or the high and the low, depending on what side you want to use. And it gives you a better idea, right? Kind of this stuff here counts kind of like mark insurance. If I see how you're thinking, you choose wrong, I may be inclined to give you a half mark. The whole system's been changed now with rounding when it comes to money. Canada has stopped using the penny. You're not going to see this in your homework today, but you can see this later on in the unit. So the rules of rounding have kind of been altered for money. So rules of rounding for money. We've stopped using the penny, right, in the real world for the most part. You'll still see them kicking around. I'm not entirely sure how long they're legal for. When we use debit cards, you're still charged the penny. If you're paying with cash, they'll round up or they'll round down based on how it happens. So here's how it works. If you have, we'll put a price. We'll put 2 prices. You're going to pay $5.33 for something. You'll actually end up paying $5.35 if you pay with cash. The 3 here gets bumped up to the 5. So if you pay 5.32, it'll get round down to 5.30. Here's the way it works. You'll probably take a good guess at figuring this out. Why? Right? For money, things round to the 5s or they round to the 0s. Right? We're not rounding to the nearest 10th. We're rounding now, in this case, to the nearest 5. 0, 5, 10 would be a 5. Multiples of 5, I guess, would be the easiest way to say it. We round to multiples of 5. And here's how it works. 0, 1, 2, 9, 8. If you're one of these guys here, you round to the 0. If you're 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, you round to the 5. Alrighty? There have to be 5 digits that'll round to each. Okay? So if you happen to be stuck paying 33 cents, you're going to get rounded up to 35 cents if you pay cash. If you're paying 32 cents, you're going to round down to 30 cents. If you're paying, however, if you're going to be paying 38 or 39 cents, they're going to round you up to $5.40. All right, and that's kind of how it works. If you're paying, say, 37 cents, they're going to round you down to paying 35. So these are the things that you're going to have to pay attention to in your life when it comes to money. We don't use the penny anymore if we're paying cash. So for money, this this rounding style only applies to money. Now you're not going to see it in today's work, but you'll see it near the end of the unit. But I'm not going to review it in a video. I'm just going to review it on the board briefly, okay? So here's what I want you to do. Try to round $6.77 where it should go appropriately if we pay in cash. $6.32. How much are we going to pay? So just quickly round these two to what you would pay if you paid in cash. And then we're done, okay? Well, according to the rules up top, $6.77 would round to $6.75. All right, 7 rounds down to 5. So it actually make out better by 2 pennies in this case. $6.32 also rounds down in this case to $6.30. So in both these cases, I would make out better. In this case, the 7's rounding down to the 5, so I don't have to pay 2 extra pennies. In this case, the 2's rounding down to 0. Just as an example of when you would have to round up, 3.18 we had to pay, and we're paying cash, would round up to 3.20. All right, so 3.20. So this style of rounding, where a 7 rounds down to a 5 instead of the 7 rounding up, say, to a 0, only applies when it comes to money. So these here would be your money rounding rules. 8 to 2, oddly enough, rounds to 0. 3 to 7 rounds to 5. All right, that's it for today.